Buckingham Palace is one of the most famous buildings in the world. It is not just the home of the British monarch. It is a global symbol of history, power, and royal tradition. Behind those gates lies a world most people will never see. Priceless art, historic treasures, royal secrets, and objects worth millions, sometimes billions, of dollars. So what exactly makes Buckingham Palace so valuable? And what incredible stories are hidden inside its walls? Today, we are stepping inside Queen Elizabeth II's legendary palace to explore some of its most fascinating treasures. But first, let us understand how Buckingham Palace became one of the most valuable royal residences on Earth. Buckingham Palace did not begin as a palace. In the early 1700s, the land was mostly marshland near the river Tyburn. Over time, it belonged to various noble families and religious groups. In the year 1703, John Sheffield, the Duke of Buckingham, built a large townhouse on the property. It became known as Buckingham House. Years later, in 1761, King George III purchased the house for his wife, Queen Charlotte. He renovated the building and used it as a private royal residence. At the time, it was known as the Queen's House, but the transformation into a true palace came later. In the year 1820, King George IV inherited the property. He decided to turn the house into a grand palace. Major renovations expanded the building dramatically. Then, in 1837, Queen Victoria became the first monarch to officially live there. Even she believed the palace was too small for her growing family, so she added another wing facing the gardens. She also introduced modern improvements for the time: gas lighting, flushing toilets, electric bells. Today the palace contains 775 rooms, 19 staterooms, 52 royal and guest bedrooms, 188 staff bedrooms, 92 offices, and 78 bathrooms. The palace also includes a ballroom, a chapel, a cinema, a swimming pool, and even its own post office. Behind the palace lies the largest private garden in London. Experts estimate the entire estate could be worth around $5 billion. Each summer, parts of the palace open to the public, but many of the most fascinating treasures remain hidden. A 2-penny blue Mauritius stamp inside Buckingham Palace is one of the most valuable stamp collections in the world. Among its greatest treasures is a tiny piece of paper known as the 2-penny blue Mauritius stamp. This rare stamp was printed in the year 1847 in the British colony of Mauritius. Only 500 copies were originally produced. Many of them were used to send invitations to a governor's ball. Because of the limited printing, the stamp quickly became extremely rare. Today only 26 examples are known to exist. The design features a portrait of Queen Victoria. It was engraved by a local artist named Joseph Osmond Barnard. Over time, collectors began competing fiercely to own one. In 1904, King George V purchased one at auction for £1,450. At the time, it set a world record for a stamp. More than a century later, the value has continued to rise. In 2011, another example sold for approximately $1.7 million. Experts now believe the stamp could be worth around $2 million. And one of these rare treasures sits inside Buckingham Palace. The mosaic Fabergé. Another extraordinary treasure inside the palace is the mosaic Fabergé. It was created in 1914 by the legendary Russian jeweler Peter Karl Fabergé. The egg was commissioned by Tsar Nicholas II as an Easter gift for his wife, Empress Alexandra. The egg is crafted from platinum and gold. Its surface is decorated with tiny gemstones arranged like a delicate mosaic: diamonds, rubies, emeralds, sapphires, topaz, and garnets. Together they create intricate floral patterns across the egg's surface. At the top sits a moonstone engraved with the year 1914. Inside the egg is a hidden surprise: a miniature gold frame containing portraits of the royal children of Russia. The piece survived the Russian Revolution. Eventually, in 1933, King George V and Queen Mary purchased it for £250. Today it remains one of the most valuable pieces in the royal collection. The Royal Art Collection. Buckingham Palace also houses one of the greatest art collections on Earth. Known as the Royal Collection, it includes more than 1 million objects. The collection contains 7,000 paintings, over 150,000 works on paper, 30,000 watercolors and drawings, and nearly 500,000 photographs. Masterpieces by some of history's greatest artists are included: Rembrandt, Vermeer, Leonardo da Vinci, and Canaletto. The collection began in the 16th century when King Henry VIII started acquiring artwork. Later, King Charles I dramatically expanded the collection. Although much of it was lost after his execution, later monarchs rebuilt it. Today experts estimate the royal collection could be worth more than $10 billion. Imperial state crown. Few royal objects are as famous as the imperial state crown. This crown is worn by the monarch during major state ceremonies. The current version was created in 1937, and it is covered in precious stones. The crown contains 2,868 diamonds, 17 sapphires, 11 emeralds, 5 rubies, and 273 pearls. One of its most famous jewels is St. Edward's sapphire, a gemstone believed to date back nearly 1,000 years. Although it has never been officially valued, experts believe the crown could be worth several billion pounds. Queen Victoria's wedding dress. Another remarkable historical treasure is Queen Victoria's wedding dress. She wore the gown when she married Prince Albert in 1840. Instead of wearing traditional royal colors like gold or silver, she chose a simple white sateen dress. At the time, this was unusual, but the decision started a global fashion trend. White wedding dresses soon became a symbol of purity and romance. The gown featured delicate lace handmade in Devon, England. Orange blossoms decorated the skirt and her bouquet. The train measured nearly 18 feet long. More than 180 years later, the dress remains an important symbol of royal history. The royal garden behind Buckingham Palace lies a hidden oasis. The palace gardens cover nearly 40 acres. More than 1,000 trees grow across the landscape. The garden is home to rare plants, wildlife, and dozens of bird species. There is even a lake surrounded by beautiful lawns. During Queen Victoria's reign, the gardens once housed exotic animals, including zebras and elephants. Today the gardens host royal garden parties every summer. Thousands of guests are invited to celebrate public service and national achievements. Palace chandeliers. Inside Buckingham Palace are roughly 800 chandeliers. They decorate ballrooms, corridors, and staterooms throughout the palace. Many date back to the early 1800s when King George IV redesigned the building. Maintaining these chandeliers once required dozens of workers lighting candles every evening. Today specialists carefully clean and restore them. Some chandeliers contain hundreds of crystal pieces. Together they represent millions of dollars in craftsmanship and history. Victoria's golden piano. Inside the wide drawing room sits an extraordinary instrument. Queen Victoria's golden piano. It was built in 1856 by the famous French piano maker Erard. The piano is decorated with gold leaf and detailed paintings. Victoria and Prince Albert often played music together on this instrument. Famous composers like Felix Mendelssohn performed for the royal family. Although its estimated value may be around $175,000, its historical importance makes it priceless. Royal corgis. Not all royal treasures were objects. Some were living companions. Queen Elizabeth II's beloved corgis became famous around the world. She owned more than 30 corgis during her lifetime. The first arrived in 1933. Another, named Susan, was given to Elizabeth for her 18th birthday. Susan even secretly joined the princess on her honeymoon. The dogs lived like royalty. They had their own room inside Buckingham Palace, special meals prepared by chefs, and custom wicker baskets for sleeping. Over time, the corgis became one of the most recognizable symbols of the British monarchy. Buckingham Palace is far more than a royal residence. It is a living museum filled with priceless treasures, historic traditions, and centuries of royal history. From rare stamps worth millions, to crowns, art collections, and historic artifacts, the palace represents one of the greatest collections of wealth and heritage anywhere in the world. And even after hundreds of years, many of its secrets remain hidden behind those famous gates. Which royal treasure surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey inside Buckingham Palace, there is another fascinating luxury documentary waiting for you on your screen right now.